Hey guys, since the previous Gauntlet tutorial on this channel did so well, and I've recently completed the corrupted Gauntlet on my Hardcore Ironman, I think it's time we take it to the next level. I'm assuming most of you guys are here because you need to either get the combat achievement or you're planning on running corrupted Gauntlet on your Hardcore. If you're none of these two and you're just looking for a Gauntlet tutorial, then I'd suggest running tier 2 first of all, and you're better off watching the previous video linked in the description. That being said, I do have a bunch of good tips in this one too to save you a bunch of time on your prep, because you're gonna need it. I've just ran 2 rounds of CG back to back to show you what I usually do. And my prep usually consists of 3 phases. I start by running a square around the middle area. The key thing here is to obtain a weapon frame whilst already grabbing a couple of resources. You'll need 13 of every resource and 740 shards, but I do recommend getting 840 shards since you're probably going to be making at least 1 teleport crystal to get back to the middle. A very useful plugin you can use is the Gauntlet plugin. If you use my settings here, you'll get these boxes on the side that will disappear once you have enough of that resource. So let's get back to the prep. I run around the middle area collecting as many resources as I can hold. A weapon frame and 80 to 100 shards to make my first attuned weapon. Very important is that you're guaranteed to get your first weapon frame on the 3rd of these small NPCs you kill. That means you can get it on your 1st or 2nd, but you're guaranteed to get a weapon frame on the 3rd. So rooms like these are ideal. Notice how I try to be micro efficient while collecting these, by attacking monsters while opening new areas or gathering resources. These couple seconds could be vital, and I strongly recommend you doing this. Once you see the XP drop on a resource, you attack the monster. Once I got my weapon frame, shards, and some resources, I drop everything off at the singing bowl. I make myself a tier 2 weapon, which means making a weapon and then clicking it again to upgrade it, and 2 vials, and that's when I start phase 2, the gathering stage. In this phase, it's important to get both your weapon upgrades, shards, and fill up your inventory with resources. A couple of tips to make this as efficient as possible. Don't start fishing or obtaining food. That's the last thing you have to focus on. If you find fishing spots, use them to fill your vials. Also, focus heavily on shards. These tier 2 NPCs drop a lot, so if you can gather resources or explore areas whilst killing these, you'll make up for a lot of time. To obtain your tier 3 weapons, you have to kill these demi-bosses. These can only appear in the middle 3 rooms of every side, so don't bother checking any corners. The way I can quickly tell where I am on a map is to take a quick glance at Hunlef. He'll always be on the middle tile, so that means if I'm on the outskirts of the map and I have a direct line to Hunlef, there can only be a demi-boss on either side of this room. So what I do is I make my way to the outskirts of the map, grabbing as many shards and resources as I can on the way, take a quick look at Hunlef to see where I am, and chase the demi-bosses in the middle 3 rooms. For safety, I always go for the staff and bow. At Hunlef, it's easier to dodge everything while you're far casting, which means killing the dragon and dark beast. If you're still struggling with prep, I wouldn't be so picky and just go with the first 2 you find, but keep in mind that you can always break down any of these weapon upgrades for 80 shards by using them on your pestle and mortar, so it's never bad to kill all bosses if you can. You're gonna need these shards. Now you've obtained most of your resources and shards, and you have 2 upgraded weapons. This is where we start phase 3. The cleanup. If you've obtained a teleport seed during your run, keep it close. If you haven't, maybe now's the time to make one. Keep in mind that this costs 100 shards, so depending on how much time you have, it might be better to run if you're struggling on shards. Make your 2 tier 3 weapons, and usually I also make tier 1 armor here, so I spend less time crafting at the end. You get yourself a teleport seed and you venture out for the last resources and food. Fishing spots will always appear in at least 1 room around Hunlef, so running a lap around the middle is a good play. Usually, if you're decent at Hunlef, 8 pieces of food should be enough. Just make sure you're back in time around the 1 minute mark, so you can start making your tier 3 armor and cooking your fish. This is why we have the teleport crystal, so we can venture out as much as we need to get those last resources and get back fast. Over time, you'll get faster and faster crafting your armor, and you'll get better and better with these micro efficiencies during prep. At that point, you'll be very consistent, and will even be able to make escape crystals for your hardcore and make a bunch more food. But for now, good luck on running the basic tier 3 prep. If you have any more questions or tips, leave them in the comments down below. And best of luck on that enhanced weapon seed or that combat achievement. Subscribe.